Hey guys, Steven here, and I managed to get top 8 at YCS Vegas, so 3v3. I played with Paulo and Aaron, shouts to them for them hearing them. I went X1 through the course event. There was one event one game I didn't finish, as well as the fact that we had a 2-round bye, so I went 5 wins day 1 with 1 not finished, and then 3-1, only losing top 8. Was an early loss, which was actually a winnable game state, but it was a really weird one that met me through. I decided to play basically the same list as Orlando. There are small changes which I'll talk about. The main thing is I was actually trying to figure a way to beat this deck list because other people are actually playing it now, which is odd. People are actually following my deck list, especially with Cam Neal winning the YCS 2 weeks prior with a similar list. But there's just nothing really better in my opinion. Like, I think this is the best deck list against everything that's not the mirror. And in the mirror, it's like there's nothing really that much better. Like, you have ogres that can dodge the books that are fine, but then you play in talents. Like the increases you can have to make your matchup better in the mirror in the main deck are so small that I just try to play this deck again and go from there. So main deck, so like I said, similar to Orlando, standard engine, 3 ice, 3x, 3 sword, the 1 no, double cross. You do need double cross. You keep them in going second against any deck you can get a grinding game against. So Fiendsmith, Ryzeal, Blue Eyes, you always keep both of them in. Against Pure and Malice, you don't, because those are less common that you get in those grind games. The 1 plugin, and then consistency, 3 bonfire. Where the last bonfire is. Here we go.
There it is.
3 bonfire. I didn't play Tachyon at all. The big thing with this deck, especially like the way you build it with breakers, is that you need every card to chip away your opponent's board so that your 1 card can resolve and just plus hard. And so when you resolve Tachyon and you go neg1, it just defeats the whole purpose of the deck of like pulling ahead by cracking the board and using every card. You often don't have the luxury of having a tech card to put back, and so it just becomes like super inefficient. If you're playing a hand trap version, it's a bit better because you have the ability to like stop them and not rely on every single card. And I don't think the consistency is a problem yet. When they hit some cards in this deck, then yes, it will be. But until then, I think that the engine is consistent enough. Like, it's not the most consistent thing in the world, but it's more enough. I top 3 YCS with this, so I don't want people saying like it's not consistent enough. You can play this list and be fine with consistency. 2 desires, 1 prosperity for the remainder consistency. And then tech cards. 2 Book of Moon, 2 Book of Eclipse, 3 Slayer, which is always the best card. 3 Talents. Everything's sticking now. 3 Talents, the 1 Call By. One challenge would put going forward is I cut the 1 Call By for probably the 3rd Eclipse. The main board that you cannot break is the Star Leash board with Babushka and Duo. You have no way of interacting with it other than Eclipse. Even if they do some of the weirder boards where they have twins under the detonator to set up Babushka once it's cleared, it doesn't do anything because if you have 2 breakers, which you're going to draw a lot of times, as long as they trade, you're fine. You can just play through them normally. The problem is when you just have cards that can't function at all, which is mainly the Babushka board. But other than that, I really like these tech cards. They're super good going first and second, protect your plays, push through everything. Hatch-up still the same, 3 Ash for Fuwas, 3 Imperms, nothing else, and then the 3 Strikes. Once again, the MVP, I have been siding this out more going second. The Twins makes the board a bit harder to crack going second, but apart from that, it's still just the most winning card going first anytime you win the die roll. It's also what makes the mirror like super annoying because if they set strikes, it doesn't matter if you draw breakers, you just can't push through 1-2 strikes. Extra deck, double detonator, double duo, double eclipse, the 1 mirror logic. I did put the Star Legion because I thought people were going to be on my build, have Slayers everywhere, so I did want to have this as an option. I very, very rarely made this. The only time I'm really making this is if I go for duo into duo into Babushka, which I do against my deck because I know that they're not on nib. So as soon as you start to see people flying with books, you can not have to respect the nib. Other than that, like I don't make it versus Fiendsmith. I just do whatever end board and just use tech cards to stop them if they have strong targeting cards. That's fine. The 1 Exton, 1 Tornado, Dweller, Dagars, and Babushka. I cut Castell. I think that card's like good, but you have to make some concession for Star Legion. I didn't miss it overall the entire event. And then the 2 Slayer targets, I decided I want them the actual like effects now, as opposed to just having them like be vanillas. I think Typhon doesn't come out much in this version because you're letting them full calm all the time. I think if you get into hand trap wars, Typhon's insane because it's just like one last push to put the weakened board over the top. But if you're full calm, Moonlight cards are never helping you clear it. And I didn't play Malon because I don't think any of these other cards are justifiable cutting for Malon for the Glorious deck. I think the deck is like somewhat easy to crack. I think it's just a super good matchup for you if you play it correctly. And so I just chose not to respect it. Play against 0, so I didn't get punished for that. And then side deck. So the big thing is I changed my side deck up. I think my side deck at Orlando was like quote unquote better in theory, but I just needed more respect for some of the things that came in the format. So one thing that came in the format is like this exact deck list, and you can't just have normal hand traps in it versus it because they just have ways of dodging it. So I just put the 6 chummies in versus it. This is also super good versus Mermail, which is a popping up deck. The problem with the mirror match is that if you just let them combo and you don't draw Lightning Storm, you're never playing through the back row. So I want some way to not play into talents and then just stun them enough to like, you know, have a weaker board trade and then just try and trade into the set traps. I think that these aren't overall insane in the mirror, but just because of that function where they're not full comboing with the back row, it was fine. They serve their purpose, and then of course for Mermails, you definitely need them. 3 Joel, this is my go first card in the mirror. I think Judgment is kind of weird because if you ever get hand trapped to death, you don't want to pay a lot if they're nuking your back row. Similarly, if they're on a massive breaker version, 1 Judgment will not save them. Like if they're playing Thrust and Storms, you're still getting blown out if you have Judgment. So I just wanted something to really stop that version. Again, additional cover for Mermails. I do not put this card going in second versus the mirror, basically versus anything other than Mermails. Because I just think playing in the talents for something that's just worse than Chummy isn't worth it. And you can crack boards enough as it is. You don't need this crutch. It's just for the kind of break glass in case of emergency, or you go first card. And then because I'm on hand traps already, I couldn't side all the breakers for Malice, so I just decided to play the 3 Lancias. Yes, you can get cross out or you can get thrusted, but that was the concession I made with this deck list. I think the breaker version is cool and like more fun, but this is what I did for this event because of the other stuff that came in the format. The last 3 cards are the 3 back row removals, which is the MVP in the mirror match, which again is why you go for the Babushka board, because this can blow out all the back row, but then they can't interact with the Babushka in any way. Overall, super happy with this list. I think this is a good example of like not trying to be over creative. Orlando, I was creative and got rewarded getting first at the Swiss. But you know, I tried to test other things and I just couldn't get anything better, so we decided to run it back and you know, rely on Tech will play to get me there, which I did for the most part, other than the top 8 misplay. So thanks.